Welcome back to the evening story shelf. Tonight the story continues. Settle in and let the evening move softly. The morning after the news arrived felt different. Not louder, not darker, just thinner, as if the air itself had learned something and was now holding its breath. Sara woke before the bell. She lay still, staring at the pale ceiling above her, listening to the quiet sounds of the house. A distant step, a faint creak, the slow settling of an old building. For a moment she forgot. Then she remembered. Her father, the letter, the words that had changed everything. Sara turned her head and looked at Emily. The doll lay beside her pillow, unchanged, just as she always was. Sara reached out and touched Emily's sleeve. Her fingers trembled only slightly. "I must get up," Sara whispered. She sat up carefully. She dressed more slowly than usual. Each movement felt deliberate, measured, as if she were learning how to move through a new world. Downstairs, breakfast was already set. The tables were the same, the dishes the same. But Sara felt as though she were seeing everything from farther away. Ermengarde noticed at once. She slid into the seat beside Sara, her face pale with concern. "I heard," she began, then stopped, unsure. Sara nodded, gently. "Yes," she said. Ermengarde swallowed. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Sara managed a small smile. "Thank you," she replied. "That is very kind." Across the room, Lavinia watched with bright, curious eyes. She whispered to another girl, their heads bent close together. Sara did not look at them. She focused on her tea, on the warmth of the cup in her hands. Lessons began as usual. But Sara noticed the change almost immediately. The teachers spoke to her differently now, not unkindly, but less carefully, less warmly, as if she had stepped slightly out of a light she had not known she was standing in. By midday, Miss Minchin sent for her. The message arrived quietly. A servant at the classroom door. A murmured instruction. Sara rose and followed. The office felt colder than before. Miss Minchin sat behind her desk, papers neatly arranged. She did not ask Sara to sit. "Sara," she said, "we must speak plainly." Sara folded her hands in front of her. "Yes," she said. "Your father's affairs are unresolved," Miss Minchin continued. "There is no fortune, no allowance, no provision for your education here." Sara listened. She did not interrupt. "You are no longer a pupil of this school," Miss Minchin said. Sara's heart gave a small, quiet ache. "I see," she replied. Miss Minchin leaned back in her chair. "However," she went on, "I am not without compassion." The words sounded strange in her mouth. "You may remain here," Miss Minchin said, "but not as before." Sara lifted her eyes. "You will earn your place," Miss Minchin said. "You will work, Sara nodded slowly. "If that is what is required," she said, "I will do it." Miss Minchin studied her. She seemed almost disappointed. This was not the reaction she had hoped for. No pleading, no tears, no gratitude. "Very well," Miss Minchin said sharply. "You may go." That evening, Sara's room was taken from her. She was led higher up the stairs than she had ever gone before, past familiar rooms, past warmth, past comfort. At the very top of the house, a narrow door opened. Inside was a small attic room, bare walls, a thin bed, a single chair, a small table, a window so high it felt more like a suggestion than a view. "This will be your room," Miss Minchin said. Sara stepped inside. She looked around carefully. Then she nodded. "It will do," she said. Miss Minchin turned away without another word. The door closed. The sound echoed. Sara stood alone in the attic. The room was very quiet, very cold. She placed Emily gently on the bed. Then she sat beside her. For a long moment she said nothing. She simply breathed. "I must pretend," Sara whispered at last. "I must pretend very hard." The next days were difficult. Sara rose before everyone else. She carried coal. She scrubbed floors. She ran errands through cold corridors. Her hands grew sore. Her shoulders ached. But she did not complain. Ermengarde watched her with frightened eyes. "I wish I could help you," she whispered once. Sara smiled faintly. "You help me by being my friend," she said. Lavinia did not whisper. She laughed. "Well," she said loudly, "I suppose we all knew it wouldn't last." Sara passed by without answering. In the evenings, Sara returned to the attic. She wrapped herself in her thin blanket. She imagined warmth. She imagined fires. She imagined feasts, not because she was foolish, but because imagining kept her steady. She spoke to Emily softly. "We are still ourselves," she said. "No one can take that." The nights were long. The attic creaked and sighed. But Sara learned something new. That dignity could live even in the smallest room. That kindness did not depend on comfort. That a princess was not made by crowns, but by courage. Thank you for listening to the Evening Story Shelf. This was a gentle retelling of A Little Princess. The story will continue in the next episode.